Grand Prix United is back. It's the F3 Euro Series, 6 rounds, plus a bonus at the end. We're back for 21 and 22, and we start at Imola. I'm Ewan Gale, on camera is Gerrit de Vries, and as I said, we have got a fantastic series of racing to bring to you. F3 back on track, plenty of talent on the grid. Let's have a look at the track. 19 turns around this historic circuit. Plenty of overtaking opportunity in these cars. There's turn 2. The first corner of real notice is Tamburello. Not what it once was, but a chicane where it can all go wrong at the start. Down towards Villeneuve chicane, and then into Tosa, the first real overtaking opportunity. Into the hairpin. Then you take the climb up the hill to Piratella. Fast, exhilarating, and down the plunge into Acqua Minerale. Next, the drivers will go back up the hill towards the Variante Alta, the chicane at the top of the hill, where so much time can be gained in qualifying. And then the final real overtaking opportunity of the track, the double left-hander at Ravazza. That is a lap of the Imola circuit that will kick off the GPU F3 series. As I said, I'm Ewan Gale, and Gerrit de Vries is our broadcast director. He's on the cameras, making sure that everything that is happening on track you will see. At home, we're at Imola. We've got 2 sprint races, 14 laps in each, and at the moment the drivers just finishing off their practice runs. I can tell you Tom Stevens and Nocturne is the fastest at the moment, with a time that is exactly the same as Luke Maguire for THR. Let's have a quick look at the calendar. We had the official test at this circuit last week. Now we're at Imola. We'll go to Red Bull Ring in Austria in 2 weeks' time, and then Catalonia in Barcelona for round 3. Then we come back to Italy for Mugello, and the final 2 rounds, Zandvoort in January, and into February, can't wait for this one, the Norris Ring in Germany. And of course, to finish it all off, we head to Macau, the gem in the F3 calendar. So, 7 fantastic races, 6 that count towards the championship, and plenty to look forward to. Of course, usually we'd have 2 commentators, just me tonight. You'll have to deal with that. And yeah, 3 minutes of practice left. We have 29 on the grid today. We are missing Stein Prins, who is unfortunately unable to make a race today. So 29 racers out there, and as you can see, so close at the top already, and that is just in practice. Plenty of talent from all over the sim racing globe here, with various sim racing leagues come together to create a fantastic grid, and as you can see, it's already so close. A second covering the top 10. So as ever, the drivers will complete practice. They'll then have a qualifying session, 15 minutes. Whoever sets the fastest lap will of course be on pole, and that will set the grid for the first race. We will then have a warm-up session for all of the drivers just to get back into race mode before the first of the 14 lap races here at Imola, and that will be the race really where you want to do your best work. More points on offer there. You've got the top 10 places scoring points, 25 points for the winner, then 18, 15, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 1, much like Formula 1. Then going into race 2, exactly the same distance, another warm-up session before the second race, and the points are skewed slightly. The top 12 positions from race 1 are reversed, and then the points start with 15 for the winner. So as we can see, we're now looking at Tom Stevens, who's on his latest lap in practice. Now there are track limits to look out for at T19, which is that right hand kink, and then T1, which is this right hand kink. You're allowed 2 right-hand wheels over the white line no more. So yeah, just to go around the track, as we saw in the beautiful track map at the start, that's Tom Stevens going through Tamburello. Then there's a short little blast down into the second chicane at Villeneuve, on board with him now, and yeah, mighty quick through Villeneuve, get the car turned in nicely into Toza. Good overtaking opportunity, slightly cambered and up the hill. Traction will be critical as Tom actually gets a little bit sideways there. Got a car in front as well, so slipstream will be important to make your moves. Then into Piratella, fast bit of the back end sliding as he goes to the left-hander, down the hill then into Aqua Minerale. Double right-hander, crucial for lap time. Use the curbs to your advantage and you can see how much time the session leader made up on the car in front there. Now into the chicane, plenty of time to be made. Don't take too much curb, it'll throw you out, as it has for both of the guys there on screen. We'll get a nice little run down the hill then into Ravazza, see if he does try and make a move, whether someone gets out of the way. And no, he couldn't make the move. So that's how difficult it is. You've got to be absolutely alongside, so practice already, clearing up plenty of indications there. That was Martin Novak for Sim Apex RT, who's 23rd in the session at the moment, and about 2 seconds off Tom Stevens' pace. That was, by the way, the fastest second sector of the session, and yet at the end of the session, Tom Stevens and Luke Maguire, Nocturne and THR, absolutely dead level on time. Is that an indication of what's to come in qualifying? So yeah, start of the season, always an exciting time. New opportunities for everybody, and you know, no one really knows what's going to happen. Just have a look at the pre-season testing times from last week, and Tom Stevens was top there with a 1:37.0, so already almost a second faster than those pre-season testing times. And Peter Vagapov was in P2, he's P7 there in practice. Guillaume Branson P3, Marin Pfeiffer P4, Massimiliano Riboli was P5, Moritz Kropp P6, Alessandro Valente P7, Sven Hielhoyd was 8, Kenneth Singleton 9, and Michael Ayers 10. So that gives you an idea of the guys to look out for this week, perhaps in pre-season testing, and obviously a lot of those are in the top 10 year as well, looking at the timing tower through practice. So now, will these be able to carry that momentum through into qualifying? We'll find out very shortly as we head into the all-important qualifying session. So just to run through the order, as you can see on the timing tower there. Stevens in P1, Maguire 2, Kropp 3, Bickers 4, Butcher 5, Brewer 6, Riboli 7, Hielhoyd 8, Singleton 9, and Ayers rounds out the top 10 in the first practice session of the year. A second covers the top 12. That would be the reverse grid, and look how close it is behind there then. You know, another 2 tenths takes you down to P17. So, you know, absolutely nailing qualifying is going to be crucial to your race prospect here, because you know, it's so close in the pack. How are you going to find the pace to overtake even in the race? Qualifying about to get underway. Here we see the cars exiting the pit lane, and this is all about getting a clean lap. We saw what traffic can do when we were on board with Stevens there, you know, really affecting the lap time. So let's see what people do. Qualifying about to get underway. There's a green light, and we are go for the first official session of GPU. To see what sort of space. There's a lot of cars on track. There's 29, as I said at the start. It's not the longest track already. Someone pulling out of the way there. Trying to figure out who that was. There's Dan Brewer and the stacks of beautiful livery. So many good-looking cars on the grid. Yeah, there's Tom Stevens for Nocturne back with him. So he's the favourite, you'd say, going into qualifying along with Luke Maguire, given their pace. But Stevens showed that pace in pre-season testing. He's already pushing, trying to find his way to the front of the queue, maybe to get a clean lap in. Just having a look at who's left in the pits at the moment, maybe waiting for a more opportune moment. Vagapov still in the pits, so Heelhoyd and Butcher, only 3 not on track out of the 29. So an absolutely packed field already out for their qualifying lap. You could see everyone preparing as much as they can. Brilliant shot through the chicane. It shows how much curb you can just about take without throwing yourself wide. So I think we will stay on board then with Tom Stevens for his first qualifying lap, and let's see what everyone's able to do. This is going to come thick and fast with all the cars on track. Take a breath, enjoy the ride. Here we go then, winding up through turn 1 we go. This is first left-hander, not really a corner, don't notice it too much. Then you've got to get your braking point perfect for Tamburello. You want to pinch the left-hand side, pinch the right-hand side. Do not risk too much. You need to get the drive all the way down this little short straight into Villeneuve chicane. Beautiful over the curb on the left, beautiful over the curb on the right. Perfectly balanced through the chicane there. Now into Toza. How does he get this done? Yeah, much less sliding than he had on his practice lap at the end, and he's fastest of all through sector 1 at the moment, 24.0. Pfeiffer 24.3. Meunier 26.0, not the best for a sector for him. Michael Ayers 24.3. Maurice Krop closest to Stevens at the moment, 24.1. So we go through Acqua Minerale. Luke Maguire 2/10 down through sector 1. Stevens looking fast already. Up then into the Variante Alta. Already, as you can see, closing in on the car ahead as well. Beautifully poised again through the chicane. Bit of a slide on the exit. Will that cost him? Already way up through sector 2 as well. Will anyone go faster than that? Closest at the moment is Guillaume Branton, who's done a 31.3 in the middle sector, so he's trying to close in. Maguire pretty much matches. It's all going to come down to the final sector to see who goes fastest on the first run. Over the line then we go. And Stevens will be fastest to start then. Stevens fastest. Branton already 6/10 down, or 2/10 lost in all sectors. Vlietstra is 4th, beaten straight away by Langerack. Pfeiffer only 5th, Hallow 6th, Sonneveld 7th. Already a big spread through the field as well as Krop goes 2nd, still 4/10 so he was closest to Stevens through sector 1, and he's only gone 2nd. As Maguire now goes 3/10 down, so they were absolutely dead level in practice. Already 3/10 down. Stevens looking absolutely flying and gone faster in sector 1 on the next lap as well, another 10th faster. But the fastest final sector was Massimiliano Riboli for Valley Esports. He's only 7th, but he's got pace to come in that car, you'd feel. On board with Butcher through Ravazza. Let's see how he can hook it up in the other THR. His teammate's P2 at the moment, Luke Maguire. Butcher comes across the line any moment now to finish his lap. What's he done through the first 2 sectors? They're all right, you know. They're all right. Should be enough for the top 5. Does. Top 2. P2 for Chris Butcher. And just under a 10th faster than his teammate. Still Stevens though, 0.290 after the first run and going even faster. We look at Daniel Brewer, he's gone out a little bit later than everyone else, on board with the stacks now. And he's coming up just into the middle sector already though, plenty of drift through sector 1. Now through Piratella, nicely balanced you have to say, no hint of understeer. Then down the hill into Acqua Minerale. Look at Tom Stevens, he's gone even faster. 1:36 flat, so that's 4.5 tenths faster than Chris Butcher already. Fantastic that from Tom Stevens, he's on it already. Here goes Brewer then to finish his first lap as Krop goes back up into second. They're finding time on the second lap. Some people pitting already. Maguire, Langerak, Vietstra, Pfeiffer, Hoekstra and Lehu already back into the pits, not going for a second run, but the guys on the second runs are finding a bit more speed as Brewer hooks it up into Ravazza. And the second part of that, Maguire down to P4, so Stevens, Krop, Butcher, Maguire, Singleton up to P5 from Mode Auto Concepts, and Branson, his teammate, just behind him as well. Over the line we go for Daniel Brewer, and he goes P6, good lap from Daniel Brewer in the stacks. So let's just go through a rundown of the top 10 and as people regather. Stevens, Krop, Butcher, Maguire, Singleton, Brewer, Branson, Bickers, Gilhoyd, Riboli. And Riboli, as we know, was fast in that final sector, beaten only in the final sector by Tom Stevens. So interesting to see how maybe setups are differing across the teams here and finding the different lap times. Singleton looks like he's still on a push. In fact, he is. Yeah, through sector 1, 24.1, not too far off the best time through sector 1 actually. It's Kenneth Singleton in a mode, yeah, a bit slower through the middle sector. I think this is probably a lap he'll give up. Not even a personal best. As Hero goes P7 from Mazunda Motorsport. Great lap from Sven there. So P7, he makes up a few paces. Branson and Bickers fall down as Stevens returns to the pits. Vagpov P11, he's pointed him out at the start of the broadcast. He's gone P11, then Sonneveld 12, Howard 13, Perosh 14, Hallows 15, Langerak 16 with Gotza 17, Sheldon Muscat 18, Contaguris 19 and Itmar Yativ P20. Although I think we just saw someone jump up. Yeah, we did. It was Rigotta up to P14. So there's Gilhoyd on the screen. Good lap from him. I think he's still going faster on his next lap. So he's just building and building and building. Other people now starting to exit the pits after coming in. Here we'll stick with Gilhoyd here. Through the final corner, through Ravazza. Let's see how close he sticks to. He's actually not nicking too much on the inside there. Shortest run to the line. Maximise your lap time. He's done brilliantly there and goes P4. Fantastic lap from Sven Gilhoyd. So he's finding plenty of time. 136.5. Michael Ayres up to P7. 136.7. Muscat up to P16. He's improving as well. Maguire's on his latest lap and has done a 24.1. That's his personal best through sector 1. Also on the personal best through sector 1 again is Michael Ayres. Car off to the left at Aqua Minerale. Heads that put Luke off. We'll find out through the middle sector. Not too bad, you know. He's not too far away at all, Luke Maguire for THR. Through the chicane at the top of the hill. Nicely balanced. Plunged down to Ravazza. He's got a car ahead. Don't know whether it's on a slow lap or not. Let's see if it makes too much of a difference. I think it is on a slow lap. Will this affect Luke Maguire into Ravazza? 6 minutes left to quali. Coming up. Bit of slide through the second part. Absolutely on the edge of adhesion. As Branson goes up into P3 on his latest lap, fastest final sector 40.9. But here comes Maguire over the line. This looked like a good lap, and it was fastest final sector, within a tenth now of Tom Stevens, but Stevens yet to go again. Here is Stevens. In fact, he's gone slightly slower, marginally slower through sector 1, but it's pretty much dead the same. If he finds speed through sector 2 and 3, then he'll go even faster. So no, yeah, that's not a disaster for Tom through the first sector. Yellows in sector 1, they'll clear nice and fast. Almost 2/3 of the way through qualifying. Traffic gets out of Stevens' way nicely up into the chicane. Look at that, just clips the curbs. Not even taking the yellow on the left hand part of that, and he's up in the middle sector. All then will come down to the final two corners. Into Ravazza he goes, and would he get a cheeky little slipstream there from the car in front? I think he might be a little bit too far back. Not quite as on edge as Luke Maguire was through the final corner, it has to be said. Krop goes back into P3 while we're on board with Tom Stevens. Again, short straight to the line across the green stuff, and Tom Stevens goes marginally faster, ever so slightly faster, but takes it to again 1.5 tenths over Maguire. Plenty of work for Maguire to do there. Krop as we say, went P3, but he's going even faster on his latest lap. Brenton back into the pits with 5 minutes left, or 4.5 minutes left, I should say. Chris Butcher, P5, Heelhoyd in P6, Singleton P7, Ayres P8, Brewer 9, Bickers 10, Pfeiffer up to P11. That was a better lap from him. Into the 136s, 136.9, and then you're into the 137s. Raboli P12, Moynier P13, Vagapov 14, Howard 15, Sonneveld 16, Valente 17, Langerak 18, Novak up into P19, and Anastastopoulos doing nicely in P20. He's found some speed from the start of the session. Here's Bickers then across the line, and P10 he goes with a personal best 136. Look how close he is. He's marginally off getting Brewer for P9. Fastest first sector, Maurice Kropp, 23.9. Coming out of Tosa, there he is. So Maurice Kropp for Nocturne trying to dislodge his teammate off the top spot. 3.5 minutes to go. Time for 2 or 3 more runs from each of the drivers. Sonneveld as well down the field, P16 on a personal best, but nothing to trouble the top guys. Here comes Maurice Kropp and into the last sector, and it's not his best middle sector. It's not his best middle sector by any stretch of the imagination. Still not disastrous though. Still up on his best time after his first sector. So Kropp then into the final corner, down the hill. Bit of traffic, shouldn't do any harm at all. Nicely over the curb. How out of shape will he get into the final corner? No, nice. Very nice. Maybe a touch more understeer than the other two. And now he's going to keep it very short to the line. Here he goes. 2 wheels over the green. Absolutely fine. And again, just hug the wall on the inside. Where'd he go? P2. Look how close it is again, within a tenth. Vagapov into P6. He's found some time on his latest lap. Great lap from Vagapov. Peter Vagapov for Valley Esports. And that pushes Heelhoyd, Singleton, Brewer and Ayres down to the lower reaches of the top 10. Here we are with Butcher slower through, or he was on an in-lap anyway, that would explain that then. So Butcher on an in-lap, he'll get another run in before the end of the session. So will Singleton, who's in the pit, so will Munia, who's up into P12, who's got back into the pit. So Stevens on his latest lap, he's on an out lap, apologies for that, he's on an out lap, so he's just going to find a little bit of space to get a final lap in. Oh, and someone's spinning in the background. Someone's spinning in the background. So didn't see who that was. Heelhoyd though. Fast through sector 1, fast through sector 2, personal best. He's looking to find his way up the top 10. Nicely, of course, taking a bit more curb than anyone else. Someone was off on the right hand side there. Did that distract him as he was trying to line up his entry into the chicane? We don't know. So Heelhoyd down into Ravazza. A little bit slidey on the entry. Look how wide he's gone, trying to get that car turned in. Another bit of a slide. He's right on the limit there of what that Mazumda can do. Reckon he'd go with his probably penultimate lap. He'll get one more in. Bickers goes P5. Great lap from Bickers. Heelhoyd goes P4, so instantly down. Fantastic lap from Heelhoyd, but P4 still 4 tenths off pole at the moment. Kropp won't get another lap in, he's in the pit. So Stevens now can only get beaten by Luke Maguire, and look at the lap that Luke Maguire's on. 2 personal best sector. Stevens fastest in sector 1. Let's stay with Maguire though, through the final 2 corners. Look at the slide, he's absolutely throwing that THR about. Absolutely ragging it. Can he get that final sector where he needs it to be? Luke Maguire, he's only a tenth off at the moment as it is. Where will he be when he crosses the line all the way down the start-finish line? Maguire goes P2, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough, he'll get one more run if he keeps going. Look at that, 0.069. He's only 0.004 ahead of Maurice Kropp. Now here's Stevens, fastest in sector 1, personal best in sector 2. Bit of traffic through the Variante Alta. Tom Stevens on his way to pole, you feel. Who else can challenge? We'll see if Luke Maguire's still on a fast lap. Yeah, pretty much identical through sector 1, so Maguire's still pushing. Maguire's still pushing. You feel like that slide through Ravazza may have stopped him from taking pole. Stevens coming down the pit straight. Keep it tight to the wall. What can Tom Stevens do? Can he push the boundaries even further? And he does. Look at that for a lap. Wow, what a final sector. 1:35.883. Now, Luke Maguire, what have you got in the bag? Can you do anything about the Nocturne's speed? Flick right, flick left. He is pushing so hard. Look how hard he's pushing. Maybe a bit too hard. Slower through sector 2. He can't do anything about that. What a lap from Tom Stevens. Still on a lap. Butcher still on a lap. Pfeiffer still on a lap, trying to improve his position. So Langerak. And that's about it. Most people in the pits, let's stick with Maguire as we go across the line. Don't think this is going to be enough to challenge given the middle sectors. Langerak goes P16 with a personal best, 1:37.1. And that's Pfeiffer up into P10. Maguire could improve, but only to 0.137 behind Stevens. There's Butcher pits. And that'll do it. That'll do it. Tom Stevens then takes pole by quite an impressive margin in the end. By over a tenth, 1:35.8, and he saved the best to last. Tom Stevens for Nocturne, alongside Luke Maguire from THR, the front two in practice. They were dead level while Stevens got the upper hand. Stevens on pole, Maguire second for race 1. Moritz Kropp, very good lap, P3. Sven Hielhoyd saving his best to last as well, up in P4. Then Chris Butcher in the second THR, P5. Lewis Bickers, the leading Stax Racing entry, in P6. Then Guillaume Branson, Michael Ayers, Peter Vagapov, and Marion Pfeiffer getting into the top end at the end. Great lap from the Butler PAL Motorsport number 99. Fascinating qualifying session to start the 21-22 F3 Euro GPU series. Absolutely breathless. Laps flying in almost every single second. Still got cars circulating. Pretty sure they'll come into the pits on their slowdown laps. And that is a grid set for race 1, which will be coming up after the warm-up. So let's just take you down a little run through the grid. It's Tom Stevens P1, Maguire 2, Kropp 3, Hielhoyd 4th, is Butcher P5, Bickers 6, Brenton 7, Ayres 8, Vagapov 9, Pfeiffer 10. Then Singleton P11 from Mode Auto Concept, Brewer in the second stacks P12, Loic Meunier P13, Riboli 14, Ragutza 15. Langerak got up to P16 with his final lap, and this Sonneveld, Liam Howard P18, Perosh P19, Valant rounds up top 20, and then this Muscat, Leho, Hallows, Novak, Anastasopoulos, Kontogouris, so the two Team Year 1s absolutely together. Then Itamar Yativ, Stan Vliestra, and Rink Hoekstra round out the grid with the Scuderia Frechaneras. So the drivers are into warm-up. They've got 8 minutes before the start of the race. And yeah, we will be back shortly to bring you that race with GPE. Welcome back to the GPU Grand Prix United F3 Euro Championship. It's round one. It's getting close to Christmas time, and we have some gifts in the calendar. As I said at the start of the broadcast, we're starting at Imola, and then we're going to 5 more fantastic tracks in the championship before a special round in the gem that is Macau. And to be completely honest, I cannot wait for that. Neither can I wait for the Red Bull Ring, Catalonia, Mugello, Zandvoort, and of course the Norris Ring in Germany. So plenty to sink a teeth into over the next few months. But of course we've got to turn our attention to Imola to start off with, and what a qualifying session that was. I mean, so many drivers just improving, and I say unfortunately for anyone but Tom Stevens is fastest in warm-up as well. So he's trying to make a clean sweep through the first part of the night. I'm Ewan Gale, your commentator tonight, and on broadcast is Gerrit de Vries, as ever, handy. And yeah, we're ready now for the start of race 1. 30 seconds or so left in the warm-up. So this is just a time for drivers to get out of quali mode, turn some laps in, settle down, get ready for the race. Do what they need to do. Maybe relieve a bit of tension. Do nothing if you can't be bothered. And yeah, everyone has their own little pre-race routine. What'll happen, then is end of warm-up. We'll get the cars on the grid. We'll do a formation lap as usual. It's normal racing. And we'll get underway for the first race of the season. And how exciting it is as well, with the drivers at the top so evenly matched as well. So yeah, I mean, hedge your bets now if you're watching on YouTube. Put your predictions in the chat. And yeah, let's get the community fired up, ready for the first race. There's the checker flag then in the warm-up, so all the drivers will return to the pit lane. And we'll get everything sorted, and that is not how you want to do the curbs at the chicane. So just to reiterate from what I said at the start of the broadcast, we've got 2 races, both exactly the same length. You've got the standard, if you like, Formula 1 style point system, 1 to 10, starting at 25 points for the winner, ending with 1 point for 10th position. That's race 1. And then race 2, the top 12 are reversed. And then you'll have a smaller offering of points, starting with 15 for the winner, 12 for second, and all the way down to 1 for 10th. So really, you want to risk everything to get the big points in race 1, but remember that you've got points to get in race 2 as well, and you do not want to ruin your day or your evening doing something silly in race 1. All about that mental balance as well as your driving talent. As everyone just finishes their warm-up times. Only 18 of the 29 putting a lap in warm-up. Just goes to show how different drivers, look after themselves in that break between qualifying and the race. Let's see if it's the same ahead of the second race. Obviously, it might depend as well. If you exit the first race early, you might need a warm-up just to get back into a bit of rhythm before the race. Here we go then. Getting the race set up. It'll be crucial, that start off the line down into turn 1. And how the pack files itself through Tamburello and into Villeneuve, and fingers crossed it'll be clean and we can get this GPU F3 Euro Championship underway for an exciting 6-race season. Or 6-round season, I should say, 12 races. So cars starting to fill up the grid nicely. And we have one of motorsport's greatest sights, if you ask me, a curved grid. Who doesn't love a curved grid? One of my favourite things. I think they should be permanent stays. Here we go then, formation lap. Stevens leads them off from pole position. A fantastic lap, over a tenth faster than Luke Maguire in qualifying, who's been his closest competition all evening. Maurice Krupp, P3 in the second nocturne, alongside Sven Geelhoyd in P4. As the formation lap is abandoned, so perhaps there's something going on behind the scenes. We will get everyone back on. We'll keep going through the grid. Michael Ayers P9, Peter Fagpov 10, Marion Pfeiffer P11 in the 99 alongside Kenneth Singleton. Daniel Brewer P13 alongside Loic Meunier, who is in 14, Riboli 15 and Langerak 16. P P17 alongside Liam Howard for Beyond, and then the second Butler Powell of Alexander Proch alongside Alessandro Valente, and then you've got Sheldon Muscat in the GT Omega RPM alongside Alex Leo in the Team Iris Machine, and then the second epic of Alex Hallows with Martin Novak alongside. The two Greeks in the Team Yo1s, Anastastopoulos and Contagouris, and then it's Mayativ and Stan Glitstra, with Ren Koikstra bringing up the rear in the second Scuderia Freccianera. So fingers crossed we'll get the grid formed back up and we can get racing underway. It looks like we might be going back out for another warm-up while things are sorted out. So hang with us, folks, and we'll get the racing action back underway. Yeah, so some drivers decided to go back out in the short delay, just keep the rhythm going. We got a few others not going out, so I think we're just waiting for whatever's going on behind the scenes to be sorted. Clearly some administration, perhaps. And we'll get the racing underway. But yeah, we'll go back to qualifying and how close that battle was between the top three in particular. Tom Stevens looked like he had it covered, and then Maguire and Krupp kept coming back and gnawing at his heels, and then all of a sudden Stevens put that final lap in and actually put a bit of daylight in between them. Geelhoyd in P4, I mean, he was in the mid to low 10s until his final lap, and he came from nowhere to go P4. Fantastic from the Mazunda driver. But yeah, I mean, plenty of pace on show. Second covering the top 12 or so. And it looks like we have got a chance of getting some racing going here. Indeed we do. So we go back into the race session. We'll get drivers forming back up on the grid. And we can finally get the first race of the first round of the 2021-2022 GPU F3 European Championship underway at the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo Edino Ferrari. Just waiting for the final few drivers to join the grid, and then we can set off on the formation lap. Doesn't the grid look superb? And obviously if you watch Formula 1, you'll notice that the back to the proper Imola grid, if you like, rather than the one that's further back down the straight, as it should be. Formation lap should be underway, and Stevens isn't going anywhere. Oh, come on, guys. Yeah, Tom Stevens not going anywhere. That's interesting. The pole sitter not going anywhere as the formation lap starts, as the grid go around him, and then... Yeah, that's not what you want to see at the start of the season. Let's see how they sort that one out. Let's go through the grid anyway, whilst we wait. So perhaps some tech issues there for the pole sitter Tom Stevens, but Luke Maguire P2 was his closest challenger through qualifying. Krop P3 in the second nocturne, and then Sven Hilhoid, as we were saying, great lap to go, P4 towards the end. Chris Butcher, the second THR, P5, alongside Lewis Bickers, the lead in stacks in P6. John Branton went P7 late on as well, alongside Michael Ayres in P8. Peter Vagapov got into the top 10, he was nowhere in qualifying until his final lap, alongside Marion Pfeiffer in the Butler Power Motorsport, up into P10. Kenneth Singleton P11, alongside Daniel Brewer in the second stacks. Then there's Loic Meunier in P13, alongside Massimiliano Riboli for Valle. Then Alexander Ragozza comes P15, and Jürgen Langerak P16. Sonneveld 17, Liam Howard for Beyond in P18, and we're going to have another grid reset. We'll get there eventually. I'll take you through the rest of the grid while we're here. So Valente was 20, Muscat was P21, Leo was P22, Alex Hallow was P23 for Epic, Martin Novak for Sim Apex RT P24, and then it's Nikos Anastasopoulos and Satoris Kontagouris, the two Greeks for Team Year 1 P25, P26. It's Mayativ GT Omega P27, and then the two Scuderia Freccianeros down in P28, P29, Stan Vletstra and Renk Hoekstra. So that's a grid for when we do get underway. The question is when will we get underway? Back on the grid. 3 is a magic number. Lucky number, wherever you're from, you know it is. Hopefully we can get some racing underway. So, there's the grid again, flying through the screen. You should know it off by heart by now. You should get your prep done, and you'll be a commentator in no time. So, running through, there you go. Bickers, Branton, Ayres, 6, 7, 8. Vagapov, 9, 5 for 10. Singleton, 11. Brewer, 12. This is where the danger zone starts for the beginning of the race. And in the mid-pack, Meunier 13, Riboli P14, Ragozza P15, Langerak P16. And yeah, got to be careful as you're trying to file through the first two chicanes. Sonneveld P17, Howard P18, Peroche P19, and Valente P20 in the second Mazunda. As we said, Muscat GT Omega P21, Lehu in the second, Iris P22, Alex Hallows P23 for Epic, Novak for Sim Apex P24, Anastasopoulos P25, Kontagouris P26, Yativ 27, Vletstra 28, and bringing up the rear of the grid, Renk Hoekstra in P29. The field led by Tom Stevens is making its way down into the Vatsa on the warm-up lap. And I'm just having a look, it looks like we've lost one or two drivers actually. Only 27 lining up here. Singleton has definitely dropped. I'm trying to figure out who the other is. But finally, it looks like we're going to get a race underway. And look at this, Stevens has kept the pack nice and close before he gets his start procedure underway. So, we'll line up on the grid. As we said earlier, it's a curved grid. So the guys at the back will be on a different part of the straight that isn't straight to the guys at the front. And that run down to turn 1 and into Tamburello is going to be absolutely key, you feel. To see if we can get a clean start and then get some good clean racing action throughout the rest of the 14 laps in race 1 of the GPU Euro F3 Championship. So the front of the grid's formed then, nicely in the boxes. Cropper's got a beautiful line down to the front. 3 lights are on, 4 and 5. GPU 21-22 is underway, and it's a good start from the front of the field by Tom Stevens. Slower moving cars at the back, and already, look at this, it looks like Crop's got the inside line run on Luke Maguire. Can Crop make a move into turn 1, into Tamburello, bit of contact, wheel banging, and Maguire stays in P2. Stevens has checked out already, then it's Maguire, Crop, Gilhoyd in P4. Butcher already into P5 and Bickers P6. Nice and clean as someone goes off. As I say that at the back, it looked like Parosh, I think, into Tamburello. That was before they even got to the corner. And already a bit of drama as someone goes off at the back as well. I think that's Munio cutting the grass at Villeneuve. So not too disastrous at the start as Leo and now Vagapov fight over 15 and 16. So Vagapov's dropped down a little bit. Here's Heroid in P4 though, following the front 3. Stevens though, a nice little buffer to Maguire, who got involved with Crop at T1. Crop couldn't quite make a move, slight contact. You've got a nice train, Butcher behind Heelhoy there, trying to make a move into the chicane, thinks better of it. Then Bickers behind Branton, Ayres, Brewer, Riboli, the top 10. Langerak up to P11, good start for him. Then Howard, Vagapov, Valent from P20 up to P14. Leo in P15, Rigotta 16, Novak 17. As we get side by side, Butcher and Bickers looking around the outside into Ravata. That won't work, and now he's going to have to fend off Guillaume Branton as he goes wide. The stacks into the gravel in the second part of Ravata, and that all stemmed really from trying to go around the outside. He's going to come on and lose a bunch more places. Already P12, P13, trying to get a slipstream to pick up the maximum velocity down the straight to not lose any more. That's helped out a load of people. Michael Ayres now into P7, Brewer 8, Riboli 9, and Langerak from way down the field into P10. I think Ayres has actually just got past Branton as well. And Brewer has as well, so maybe Branton made a mistake into the first chicane at Tamburello, and Branton down to P9 now as well. Here he is actually side by side. Look at this with Massimiliano Riboli. Great racing, bit wide there through Villeneuve, and Riboli should hold that around the outside of Toza. Back up front, Maguire's put a bit of a gap on Morris Crop. That's now about 6/10 of a second, trying to follow Tom Stevens. Only about 3/10 between it. Actually, he's closed up. We said that Stevens was starting to check out. These three, though, way faster than Heelhoyd in P4, who's holding up Butcher, you feel. On board with Luke Maguire then. Up into the Variante Alta. Now, this is where Tom Stevens was finding the pace in qualifying, and a lot of curb being taken from Luke Maguire. Probably not the fastest way to go, but he's just trying to keep up through probably Stevens' best sector of the evening so far, just to be able to have a little go. He needs a slipstream into turn 1. Look how absolutely pinned to the apex both of them are, and Crop going with them both, to be fair. So over the line to finish lap 2 is Stevens first from Maguire, Crop, Heelhoyd in P4 with Butcher right behind looking to make a move. Ayres is P6 with Brewer, Riboli, Branton and Langerak all in a big gaggle of cars. Look at this, so that's Langerak in the Epic, and then he's got Howard trying to make a move into Tamburello. Also there with him is Vagapov, who's trying to make up spaces from his poor start. There you go, and now look at that, Vagapov trying to make a move, gets held up a little bit, and this Bicker's trying to make up for his off at Ravata around the outside. That's not going to work, Lewis. Not there at all. Vagapov covers it off, stays P12. Great racing in the mid-pack then. Looking further behind, Valent still in P14 from Mazunda. Novak up to P15 from P24. although he's just been overtaken by Alexander Ragozza for Gallery 82. Leho P17, Hallows P18 in the second epic, he's made up spaces as well. Meunier has dropped down, so has Pfeiffer. As Novak gets pushed out a little bit of Piratella, look, Novak pushed wide by Ragozza, so a nice little battle going on between those two. With Leo now looking, oh, and look at that, Novak sideways, and Leo should make his way through up into the chicane. Not a lot of space being left, small contact up the hill, but in the end the Iris gets it done. P16 for Leo. So just the one DNF so far. Perosh we saw go into the barriers into Tamburello on lap 1. Up in front, it looks like Maguire's dropped into the clutches of Moritz Kropp a little bit more than he's actually challenging Tom Stevens, and that's cause Moritz Kropp on lap 2 did the fastest lap of the race and is pretty much level pegging with Tom Stevens in terms of lap time at the moment. 1:36.7 for Stevens on that lap, 1:36.8 for Kropp, 1:36.9 for Luke Maguire. And Maguire under all sorts of pressure from a second Nocturne now, so Nocturne looking really good here. As Hallows and Leo are having a battle, so Leo might have gone off, and there's Maguire wide at Villeneuve, and that allows Maurice Kropp. That is, well, we're talking about Christmas and early gifts just now, and that really is one for Maurice Kropp in the Nocturne. Now what can Maguire do to respond? Uncharacteristic from Luke. Going wide, that's just the pressure, and look at that. Wide from Kropp as well through Piratella over the curbs. That upset the car a little bit. Nothing that Maguire can do to get back through though. So looking straight back up the hill. And this is really setting up a move perhaps into Ravazza, but more likely into Tamburello. Look again at the curve, it's unsettling the car. It hasn't helped him at all there, Maguire. So a bit early on the turn in, you feel. And that's not helped him as Hallows drops down. Hallows, I think, has had a problem. He's down to P21. That's allowed Pfeiffer into P19 and Vlitstra from the back in the Scuderia Freccianera up into P20. So a good start for Stan. Social media in the top corner, hashtag GPU, hashtag RFactor2. Get on it, get with us. And look at the fantastic racing we're seeing. Already lap 5, just starting 10 laps to go. And Kropp doesn't look in too much danger, but look at behind, it looks like Butcher's right up the back of Hilhoid, still not close enough to make a move though. So Butcher trying his best to make it a Nocturne 1-2 THR 3-4. But Hilhoid, in fairness, doing a really nice job, and you know, he's about half a second slower at the moment on that last lap than the front three, as Maguire does the fastest first sector in his charge to make up for his error at Villeneuve a few laps ago. Ayres P6 starting to close in to these two guys as well at the sound of about 4/10 a lap. So Ayres trying to make up for lost time in P6, trying to catch up to Butcher, and going with him is Dan Brewer. Massimiliano Riboli then is in a little bit of a race on his own with Brenton P9, and then Flagpole, Bickers, Langerack, Valent, Gotza, Howard. I mean, there's a massive group of cars in the midfield, and look at that again, Maguire, all out of shape at the Valeriante Alta. It was Butcher, sorry, of course it was Butcher. So the two THRs having some troubles at that chicane. Everywhere else they seem absolutely lit up, but they're costing each other, maybe trying too much to get ahead of the cars in front. It looks like Maguire's actually had a problem himself though, because he's dropped way off. He's only just ahead of Hilhoid. So Maguire way off, look, from Kropp. So I wonder what happened there. Kropp's just done the fastest lap of the race, 1:36.5. That's pretty special, and he's actually closing into Tom Stevens now. But Maguire's dropped way off, and that would have been in the middle sector as well. So the THR battle, or the THR charge, is starting to fall off, you feel. Butcher only just getting back to the back of Hilhoid after his moment through the Alta. And then Vagapov back into P10 as well, Bickers following him, so Langerack down to P12. Then Valentin to P13, we've got to P14. Howard 15, Alejo 16, so who's dropped back there? I think Meunier's dropped back a little bit. But as it stands, it looks pretty easy sailing out front for the two Nocturne, Stevens and Krupp. And look at this, we've got a pack of cars all the way packed down the field. This Pfeiffer trying to make his way through on Novak, or was he trying to defend from Hallows? But Hallows has got himself into a bit of trouble getting out of shape there into Piratella, and now he's all under all sorts of attack from Meunier, who's trying to follow into the Alta. Meanwhile, up ahead is Pfeiffer looking up the inside. That would be a good move. Keep it clean, he does. But that's let the door open for the Epic alongside, and he couldn't quite get through. A bit of wheel banging, but fantastic stuff up at the Alta, and that's going to allow Meunier to have another go at Hallows down into Ravazza. Pfeiffer again trying to make a move. This time there's contact. This time Novak is pushed wide. That gets Pfeiffer through, but I'm sure they'll be talking about that later on. And now that's allowing Hallows to attack the Sim Apex of Martin Novak, and with him Meunier following. Big slipstream down the front straight though. Pfeiffer might not hold that position for long. It might be 3 wide before long, you know. Look at that, Hallows looking for the middle. That's not going to work, and that's alone. Meunier around the outside, and who's joining that? Who's Flestra in the back as well. He's joining. Novak gets back through on Pfeiffer, and Meunier gets through on Hallows. Fantastic racing down the front straight. Pfeiffer looks faster than Novak, but it's just where you make your move. And Novak gets back through after the contact at Ravazza, managed to pick up the slipstream. Great move. So Pfeiffer has dropped down from his grid position, trying to make up for that, and he just could not make the move stick in the end. And look, that's allowed Contiguris as well as Vlitstra into that battle. So that's now a 6-car battle instead of a 4-car battle, and it's been the same through the midfield. Back to the front. Tom Stevens only 3/10 ahead of Maurice Krupp as we've got contact. Was that Meunier around the outside of Pfeiffer into Acqua Minerale? That's incredible, what a move. And now that's caught Pfeiffer completely unawares, and that's allowing a bit more pack racing. Hallows trying to get through into the Alta, he can't do it. And, well, that took my breath away. I looked away thinking, oh, that's done. Down into Acqua Minerale, and all of a sudden they're side by side. What a move. Hallows now trying to get through on Pfeiffer into Ravazza. And a bit of a slide from Pfeiffer, that'll allow Hallows through easily. Bit of gravel for good measure, but Hallows gets on the gravel himself and just about keeps it out of the wall actually. So good driving in the end from Hallows, but it allows Pfeiffer and Vlitstra through. Fastest final sector of the race done by Lewis Bickers, who's just got past Michael Ayres. So Michael Ayres out of the top 10 now and into P11. Top 10 as it stands, Stevens ahead of Krupp. Then Maguire, Hielhoyd still ahead of Butcher, who just cannot get through. Brewer P6, Raboli P7, Branson P8, Bickers up to P9 ahead of Vagapov now, so Bickers making up for his early error and back into the top 10. Remember, top 12 are reversed, so Langerak at the moment looking good in P12, although not getting any points for this race. Butcher right up the back of Hielhoyd now. Can he get through? Good for THR in the championship with Nocturne out in 1 and 2. The more points, the better. Get your championship off to the best possible start. Maguire stabilised at about 3 seconds off at the moment. Tom Stevens, who's just gone fastest through the middle sector, no sign of letting up from the leader. Krupp still within 0.3 of a second, or out to about half a second now. See what they are across the line. Can Chris Butcher get that slipstream on Hielhoyd? Or is this going to be a bit of a setup difference? Here we go, a bit of slipstream. Now Hielhoyd's starting to go defensive. Look, this is pretty much the first time we've seen this. Is this the move? He's going to have to go around the outside. Will he make it stick into Tamburello? No, he won't. Hielhoyd later on the brakes. Great driving from Sven Hielhoyd. But now he's going to go wide, and that's going to allow Butcher the flip-flap into the next straight. Hielhoyd goes defensive again. Can Butcher get it done? Round the outside into Villeneuve. No, he can't. Now he's got to set up for Toza. And it's just not going to happen. Late dive, Hielhoyd's got it sorted. Meanwhile, Contiguris has retired, unfortunately. So has Martin Novak. So maybe they got together. They were on the same sort of similar part of the road, if we remember from that 6-car battle earlier. So that's allowed Sheldon Muscat into P20 and Nikos Anastatopoulos into 21, and Hoekstra from the back up to P22 now. So Hallows P23, he may have been involved as well. Maybe a 3-car battle, and that's Novak and Contiguris out the edge. So Butcher still pounding the back of Hilhoy, trying to get through, and Hilhoy got out of shape, and this could be a chance down into Ravazza. Hilhoy well out of shape, big slide out of the Variante Alta, but he's gone defensive again. He's covered that inside line off, and now Butcher's going to have to go around the outside again. Hilhoy is not giving Butcher any margin at all. Fantastic defensive driving from the Mazunda, who gets a little bit sideways again out of Ravazza. Losing time to Maguire all the time. Crop losing time to Stevens at the moment, but let's go back on board with Butcher and see what he can do into Tamburello. 5 laps to go. Again, Hilhoy plays his cards early, and as soon as that slipstream goes, look, he loses that straight line advantage. He's going to have to go well deep on the brakes to make this one stick. He can't do it. Again, Hilhoy manages to carry the speed through, even though he's on the compromised line, and put up some form of defence. He'll surely sweep to the left again to defend. Take up the braking zone. Butcher will be so frustrated in that car behind as he goes off. Hilhoy off. Can he keep it out of the wall? Yes, he can, but he loses 2 positions. So Hilhoy, unfortunately, fantastic defence comes to an end. Butcher into P4 then, and Brewer will follow Chris Butcher in the stacks. Hilhoy down to P6. Raboli P7, Bickers P8, Branton P9. So Branton now behind Bickers, and Vagapov P10, Ayres still P11, Langarek still P12, and then Valent, Ragozza, Leo, Howard, Monier, Pfeiffer, Vitstra and Muscat now into P20 as a result of all the fighting at the back of the field. Looking back up front, almost a second now between Stevens and Crop, so the 2 Nocturnes nicely spaced out now, as Stevens about 4 tenths faster on that last lap. Maguire actually a little bit faster than Crop, but probably not fast enough to reel him in by the end of the race. So the front 3 look pretty stagnant. You've got Butcher only just ahead of Brewer. Let's see if Brewer can do anything on Butcher, about half a second. He's got the slipstream, that could pull him in to fighting range in the stacks. Look at this, yeah, and to be fair, you'll probably get the maximum slipstream at just about the right time. Butcher goes defensive on the left hand side, and he can't get it done. So this is now Butcher taking up Hilhoy's defensive tactics, if you like, from what he's been frustrated by, and after finally getting through, it looks like Butcher's going to try to make a move. Can he get that done? Butcher, sorry, defending Brewer on the attack. Can't get it done into Villeneuve around the outside, as we've seen all the way through the race. Nicely defended from Butcher. Can you imagine how frustrating it would be if Brewer managed to get through, having sat behind Hilhoy for so long? Hilhoy not managing to keep up. Was that a bit of dust being kicked up, or a bit of tyre smoke? Don't know. From Maguire in front, he's fallen back again through sector 1 though to the first 2 guys. Actually, Crop and Stevens pretty much neck and neck on this lap, so fantastic pace from the 2 out front. 5 seconds between the top 2 and Maguire in third, and another 2 seconds to this battle is Brewer chasing Chris Butcher for P4. Hilhoy trying to rein them back in and actually doing a nice job of that in P6. Raboli a further 4 seconds back, with Bickers 3 seconds further back from him, and then Branton and Vagapov nice and close as well. Let's stick with Brewer though through the final corner. Can he get a run again? Can he find a way of moving the chess pieces to try and get a move done on Butcher? Actually looks slightly further ahead out of Ravazza this time, so shouldn't be under too much stress into Tamburello, and no, he won't be. So a good lap there after keeping Brewer behind. Butcher has managed to just create enough of a gap to make sure that that is perfectly all right. The Vagapov and Ayres pretty close between Vagapov and Branton as well. There's Ayres, look, getting drive around the outside, and Ayres up into P10 and then covering Vagapov off into Villeneuve. Great move from Ayres, just came out of nowhere. And that's Ayres into P10, Vagapov P11. And now Ayres can have a look at Guillaume Branton in the mode auto concept. So probably not the start to the season Ayres wanted, but nicely making his way back into the top 10, having slid out of the top 10 earlier on in the race. And now Branton's just trying to hold on to what he's got in P9. They're way off Bickers. Bickers has made nice headway since getting through, and P8. You know, having seen the mistake that he made at the start of the race, back into P8 is a very good recovery drive. Let's take you through the field again. Stevens, Crop, Maguire, Butcher, Brewer, Hilhoy, Raboli, Bickers, Branson and Ayres, Vagapov and Langerak in the reverse pot as well. Branson look already going a little bit defensive into Ravazza and goes wide. Branson goes wide and he's going to spin as well. That's going to be more. Oh, and look at that. I think Langerak had to take avoiding action. Valent was unimpeded, but Langerak had to take avoiding action, and that's allowed Valent through as well. So Branson making the error down to P15. That allows Ayres through, that allows Vagapov through. Importantly, Valent into the top 12 now, into P11, and Langerak stays P12. That could have been disastrous. That could have been absolutely disastrous. Actually, pretty heads-up driving there from Branton to stick the reverse on and get off the racing line. Really smart. Anyway, 2 laps to go. It looks pretty sewn up out front. Look at the gap now. You look away, it's 2.6 seconds. 2.6 seconds from Stevens to Crop. Similar gap then to Maguire, as I think Rigotta's had a spin somewhere. He's dropped down from where he was using about P14. He's now P18 and dropping. And still dropping. So potential issue there for Alexander Rigotta in the Gallery 82. Meanwhile, Chris Butcher and his gap to Dan Brewer has come down a little bit. And more importantly, Chris Butcher and his gap to Luke Maguire has come down a little bit as well. It was half a second on the last lap. And now Chris Butcher can see the back of his teammate. And that might help him with a bit of slipstream, you know, to defend from Dan Brewer if Dan Brewer mounts a charge on the final lap of the race. Which we start now. Tom Stevens starts the final lap of the first race of the first round of GPU F3 European Championship in 21 and 22. Brewer closing. He won't get anything done there though. The braking zone is not big enough. Closing. Couldn't get it done. Has he got another chance in him? He needs to set it up in Villeneuve and get it done into Tosa. I don't think he's close enough. No, he isn't. He's not going to be close enough unless Butcher makes a mistake, which would be very uncharacteristic from Chris Butcher, and he keeps it nicely done there and covers the move off. So that should be the top 5 sorted. Brewer is still with him though. Rigotta into the pit, so clearly a front wing perhaps gone for Rigotta. Maybe an incident down the field for him as Valent gets past Vagapov. So Valent really putting a charge on and marching through the field towards the end. So fantastic race for Valent in the second Mazunda. Mazunda will be thrilled with a double top 10 finish in the first race, especially having seen where the grid positions were. Okay, Hilhoid was P4 and Vagapov's still dropping, so I wonder if Vagapov's got a problem now late in the race because Langerak's gone through into P11. But up front, through the final corner, through Ravazza, what a dominant start to the season. Race 1, tick. Qualifying, tick. Warm-up, tick. Practice, tick. Tom Stevens and Nocturne take a bow. That was fantastic. So 1-2 for Nocturne as Tom Stevens takes a line. Moritz Krop, P2, 2.6 seconds back. Great start for the team. And then THR will be thrilled with P3 and perhaps P4 as Brewer gets so close across the line. Butcher P4, Brewer P5, Hilhoid very respectable P6. Fantastic defence early on in the race. Raboli P7, Bickers fighting back to P8. Then Michael Ayres all on his own at the end, P9. And Alessandro Valent from P20 up into P10. Langerak holds on to P11. Vagapov P12 dropped 2 positions at the end. Leo as well, another one who fought his way through the field, P13. Guillaume Brenton had his issue, P14. And then it is Lake Meunier, P15. Marion Pfeiffer, who dropped down at the start, P16. Lynn Howard, P17. Stan Vlitstra from the back of the field up to P18. Sheldon Muscat, P19. Alex Hallows, P20. Frank Hoekstra, P21. Nikos Anastastopoulos, P22. Alexander Rigotta, P23 after his late issue. And then it looks like Yativ retired, so did Martin Novak, Taurus, Contagouris, and Alexandre Paroche, who exited on the first lap. But Tom Stevens there dominating. Really, it has to be said at the start of this championship with a fine victory. We're going to get the grid sorted for race 2. The drivers are going to have a warm-up. We'll be back for what we hope will be another very exciting race here at Imola. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the first round of the GPU F3 European Championship for 2021 and 2022. We're at Imola. And if you've only just switched on, you've missed a fantastic first race in which Tom Stevens and Nocturne absolutely dominated. It was Stevens from his teammate Maurice Kropp, and Luke Maguire was third, having made a mistake to allow Kropp through. Chris Butcher finally got his relief from Sven Hielhoyd when the Mazunda went wide. He got P4, then Dan Brewer was P5, Hielhoyd hold on for 6th, then Riboli was P7, Lewis Pickers P8 for Stacks, Michael Ayers P9 for Beyond, and Alessandro Valente from P20 on the grid came up to P10, a fantastic race for him and into the P10 in the closing stages. Jürgen Langerak had an excursion off the grass in avoidance of a spinning Guillaume Branson, but he still managed to get P11. Peter Vagapov dropped down towards the end, but still P12 in the first race. Alex Leo was one of the guys to come from the back of the grid up into P13, with Guillaume Branton recovered to P14 after his spin at Ravazza. Loic Meunier in P15, another to rise from further towards the back, and Marin Pfeiffer will be disappointed that he dropped a few positions. Then Howard P17 for Beyond Esports, and Stan Vlietstra from the back of the grid up into P18, a good, strong result for him in the Scuderia Freccianera. Sheldon Muscat, P19 for GT Omega RPM. What a great looking car that is, by the way. And then Alex Hallows in the second epic, P20. Ren Koikstra was at the back. He got to P21. Nikos Anastasopoulos got involved into in some shenanigans, as did Alexander Ragotto, who made a late pit stop for damaged repairs. And then the DNFs, Itamar Yativ late on, about 3 laps towards the end. We think Martin Novak and Sotiris Kontagouris got together at some point. There was a gaggle of 6 cars battling on track. And Alexandre Perroche in the second Butler Powell motorsport car. He went off at the first corner. We think tech issues. So the field have just finished their second warm-up. This is ahead of the reverse grid race. Exactly the same race distance, but less points on offer with the reverse grid nature. Moritz Krupp, as you can see on the timing tower, has just gone fastest in the warm-up, but only 10 people doing the warm-up, 18 in the first warm-up, so completely up to them what they do. Like we said earlier, more people stay in the pits. Some people like to get into a bit of a rhythm. Some people like to have a mess around, let a bit of tension out. Actually, a few more people. I think Valente went with a lap late on there, so this will be, well, they'll all return to the pits. We'll get the cars onto the grid, ready for the second race. Hopefully we'll get the race underway a little bit cleaner than we did with first race. And let's finish off first round in style. Some practice starts going on there, so some smart work from the guys out on the warm-up. As the warm-up comes to a close, so of course it is the reverse grid race, which means that we will get the top 12 reversed. So Tom Stevens will go down to P12 and he'll work his way back up until P12 was P1. You get the gist. We've got Guy Sonneveld back in the server as well, by the way. But I think the tech issues have taken Perroche out. So still only 27 cars on the grid, but Sonneveld back into the race. We'll get the cars lining up on the grid very soon indeed, and get racing back underway. There you go. Just waiting for the last few cars and we will get the formation lap underway. There we go. And here's the grid then for race 2 at Imola, the first round of the GPU F3 European Championship for 2021 and 2022. Peter Vagapov for Valley Esports on pole alongside Jürgen Langerak for Epic Racing. Then it's Alessandro Valente and Michael Ayres. Lewis Bickers P5 for Stax. Massimiliano Riboli P6 after a strong race 1. Sven Hilhoid will be disappointed to give up P4, but he'll start P7 this time round. Daniel Brewer P8. Chris Butcher and Luke Maguire, the 2 THRs. Ahead of the 2 Nocturnes, Moritz Kropp and race 1 winner Tom Stevens. Alex Leho just missing out on P1 for the second race. He's P13 alongside Guillaume Branton, who made his error down at Ravazza. Luc Meunier in the second Team Iris, P15. Marin Pfeiffer, P16. Liam Howard for Beyond, P17. Stan Vlietstra and Sheldon Muscat alongside each other. Alex Hallows P20. Renk Hoekstra in the second Scuderia Freccianera, P21. Nikos Anastasopoulos P22 for Team Year 1. Alexander Rogotza in trouble in race 1, P23. Itamar Yativ retired, P24, as did Martin Novak, P25. Sotiris Contagouris, P26, and Guy Sonneveld missed race 1, he's back in for race 2. So we saw Tom Stevens go on a very slow formation lap last time around in race 1. And it's been a pretty rapid formation lap so far. But now Peter Vagapov decides to slow it right down towards the Ravazza. All about getting everything in the window ready for that crucial blast down to turn 1. And actually it was pretty clean, apart from the tech issues that took Alexandre Perroche out at turn 1. Pretty clean start for the most part in race 1. Great to see. We've got the 2 yellow or the yellowish cars on the front row. Valley on the right as you look at it. The number 14, that's Peter Vagapov, the pole sitter. You got Jürgen Langerak, who was hovering around that pole all the way through and made his move to P11 as Vagapov lost places at the end. And the grid will form up for race 2 tonight. Still warming up a tyres at the back. Grid forming nice and quickly though, 27 cars as we did in race 1. Sonneveld back in though, Perroche out. 27 cars lined up on the grid. Imola race 2, here we go. Get yourselves ready. Who'll get the best jump? They're away. And it's a really good start from Vagapov as the guys on the right hand side cut straight across to the left to get the shortest run down into turn 1. Riboli in P6 trying to defend from Hilhoid already as Valente goes up inside looking for P2. No contact at all, but that's going to allow Michael Ayres around the outside. P4, can he get that done into Villeneuve? Great clean start from everybody down into Tamburello, but Vagapov has absolutely taken off like a whippet. Absolutely flying. As Ayres goes wide, a little bit of contact with Valente, I think. Ayres was P3, he's going to go way down. That allows Lewis Bickers into P4. And look at that, the THR's getting in a bit of bumping and grinding as well. Michael Ayres down to P9 then, Butcher into P8 already, Stevens P10, Maguire behind Stevens already, Moritz Kropp behind Leho as well. So Leho up into P12 and Kropp losing positions at the start. Fantastic start though from everybody, nice and clean. Ayres going wide through Villeneuve, lost him a load of positions. But Bickers up into P4, Riboli P5, Hilhoid P6. Vagapov way out ahead, almost a second already over Langerak. As Valente goes up into P2, he's looking around the outside into Alta. That'll be a great move. It is a great move. It is a fantastic move from Alessandro Valente up into P2 from Mazunda. So it's Vagapov, Valente, Langerak, Bickers, Riboli, Hilhoid, Brewer, Butcher, Ayres and Stevens, and they're still, look at this, 2 wide, 3 wide down into Ravazza as Bickers gets past Langerak, and so does Riboli. So Riboli goes into P4. That's 2 valleys in the top 4 at the moment as it stands. I think Yativ might have had a problem towards the back, so Itamar Yativ dropping down to P27. But out in front, Vagapov checks out, and look at this. Look at this, they're 2 wide all over the place. Valente overtaken by Bickers. Bickers absolutely flying. This is what he could have done if he didn't make the mistake in race 1. Ayres now is still behind Butcher, but Butcher's trying to make his way through guess who? Sven Hielhoyd, exactly the same as race 1. Look at this pack of cars. Look how close they are. I mean, Vagapov 3.1 seconds up the road. We're only on lap 2. That is just incredible. Bickers then taking Valent with him. Riboli P4, Brewer P5, Langerak already down to P6. So Jürgen's had a difficult start to this race. So Langerak with Hielhoyd all over the back of him. The Hielhoyd actually having a look into Aqua Minerale can make it work. So they're going to have to file in, and then you've got the two Irises almost colliding as well in the back. Leho and Mounier 12 and 13. I think Leho's actually gone behind Mounier. So yeah, and Pfeiffer's through into the Variante Alta as well. So complete pack racing here in the F3 European Championship. What a start to the season we're having. Race 1 is fantastic. Race 2 is edge of your seat stuff. As Hielhoyd defends from Butcher down into Rivata. Can Butcher get it done? Hielhoyd goes wide. They're going to be side by side. Who's going to be compromised down the straight? Because now Butcher's got to look in his mirrors and hope that Ayres isn't there to make his way through. Great defence from Hielhoyd again, this time around the outside. On board with Butcher then, as yellow flags are out, is trying to figure out who's had an issue there since sector 3. Could be Martin Novak, he's dropped to the back. Oh, we got a bit of action. Someone went wide. I think it was Riboli. It was Riboli. Riboli down. He's falling. He's P8 at the moment. So Riboli was P4. That allows Brewer through into P4. Then Langerak back up to P5. Hielhoyd 6. Butcher 7. Riboli down to 8. And in front, crucially, the Tom Stevens. You can't now follow the THR Butcher. More trouble in the back, I think. I think it was Kropp. Kropp has gone. Yeah, Moritz Kropp has gone. At least for a spin. And yeah, he's in the gravel and out of the race. Moritz Kropp, the Nocturne, and not as good in race 2 for Moritz Kropp. An accident. It looks as if he's in the gravel and out of the race. So just the one Nocturne left. And that's Tom Stevens behind Massimiliano Riboli. This is what a reverse grid can do for you. Still a bit of contact. That was an Irish, and that's Mounier going round. A bit of contact there. I think it was with Pfeiffer into the chicane. And Loic Mounier down to P17, so loses a whole heap of positions, but comes back on in front of Stan Vlestra. As Vlestra goes for a move, and there's more contact into Rivata. Just closing the door, maybe the move wasn't on. Maybe 6.5 doesn't it? But yeah, that was no good. Vagapov, meanwhile, up at the front going ever faster, only for Bickers to reel him in a little bit. 1:36.9 fastest out of the race for Lewis Bickers in the stacks, and he is closing on Peter Vagapov. So Vagapov leads Bickers, Valent, and then Brewer's right behind Valent, but then it's Butcher, Langerak, Hielhoyd, Stevens, Riboli, Ayres, Maguire, Pfeiffer, Branton, Leho, and Howard are all pretty much line astern as Butcher goes wide. And who's that off in the background as well? Yeah, they're all off at it. It was Michael Ayres, I think. So Butcher, and then we've got more contact. There's Pfeiffer and Ayres, and also I think Riboli going around as well. Possibly as Butcher came back onto the track. So Ayres in trouble, but not as much trouble as Riboli. So Riboli was as high as 4th. He's now down to P17. That allows Pfeiffer into P10. Maguire P9. Stevens ahead of Butcher now after Butcher went wide. So now the picture looks a little bit better for Nocturne again. THR 8 and 9 though. Butcher and Maguire. Leho in more trouble, I think, for Team Iris. So Team Iris not having a good time of it. They were 11th and 12th at one point. Now Leho's way down the order, P22. And Mounier after his spin only back up to P15. Top 10 as it stands. Vagapov, Bickers, Valent, Brewer, Langerak with Hielhoyd all over the back of him in the Mazunda. Then Stevens trying to follow, and Stevens will make a move. I think he's got the inside already sewn up. Look, it's just whether Hielhoyd gets the slipstream from the Epic racing car in front, and he did. And now he can go and cover. Now he can go and defend from the flying Tom Stevens. Not close enough to make a move on Langerak, I don't think. Now Stevens is going to have to go around the outside, and this could work, you know. What a bit of racing this is from Tom Stevens. So close to contact, and Hillhoy stays ahead. Fantastic from both of them. Butcher P8, Maguire P9, Pfeiffer P10. Still more trouble down the back of the field. I think Riboli's lost even more. Sonnenveld, who started last through all the chaos, is up into P17 as Stevens goes wide. Stevens goes wide. It's a classic mistake tonight of going wide at Villeneuve, and that allows the two THRs through. Constantly changing at the bottom of the top 10. Butcher, Maguire past Stevens. Valent still over the back of Dan Brewer, by the way. It's also Stack's looking really nice in this reverse grid race. Remember, points slightly less than race 1. You get 15 for winning as opposed to 25 and 12 for second, 10 and so on until you get to 1 for P10. So not as prestigious as race 1, but still plenty of points on offer for the championship. In round 1, Valent with a bit of a slide. He'll lose a bit of time to the Stacks. Now Ayres has got Meunier. So Loic Meunier getting back to the rear end of Michael Ayres. The two Beyonds absolutely together on the track there, because Liam Howard's made his way up into P12, and Ayres is struggling a little bit here. He had a half spin that's put in down there in the first place, and now he's got the Team Iris car, that beautiful purple car, all over the back of him. But probably not close enough to make a move into turn 1. As we've seen, you've got to be absolutely alongside to even think about making that move. Novak also a DNF in this race a couple of laps ago. And for once we can have a bit of a breath through turn 1. Although Valent's gone off, I think Valent's gone off somewhere. Because Valent is now P12, P14. And Valent's out. Such a shame for Valent for a DNF, as Riboli makes a wonderful move through Villeneuve. Really, absolutely set Alex Hallows up. And Hallows had no reply for that switchback move from Riboli. So Riboli back into P17 with Leho all over the back of him. But Valent was all over the back of Brewer, and now he's going to have to... Well, he's retired, and that's such a shame for Alexander Valent. Back in front, Bickers gap back down to Vagapov, 2.6. And the way he's closing in, it's only a 10th a lap at the moment. Vagapov's got him covered here, I think. Unless something happens in the last half of the race. Pace-wise, Bickers hasn't got anything to answer for, but they are some 7/10ths of a second faster than Dan Brewer at the moment. So Brewer on a 1:37.9 last lap. Only 7/10ths slower than the lead of Vagapov. Then you've got this massive gaggle of cars. Langerak in P4 is the cork in the bottle. This goes all the way down to Pfeiffer in P9, and Hillhoid's got the inside line. Yeah, this should be the move done. This should be the move done for Sven Hillhoid in the Mazunda. He's got the inside line. What can Langerak do around the outside? He's going to brake very late. He's going to carry all the speed through. And look, this is allowing the THRs to have a go. Hillhoid through into P4. And now Butcher and Maguire are lurking. Play the Jaws music, someone. This is fantastic. Hillhoid still down the inside. Now Butcher goes through as well. Absolutely side by side. Chaos now. 3 wide through Villeneuve. Butcher onto the grass. Is that going to allow Maguire around the outside? Langerak down to P7. Maguire trying to go around the outside of his teammate. Can't get it done. So that's Butcher P5, Maguire 6, Langerak 7. Stevens in P8 still can't get past Langerak. And Pfeiffer going with him in P9. THR getting the double move, making the most of Hillhoid's passing to Tamburello and down into Villeneuve. Fantastic racing from all of them, and nice and clean as well. And we've got a problem. I think it's Michael Ayres is out. Michael Ayres is out. So we didn't see that on screen because of the battle that we were watching, but Michael Ayres, we saw him struggling a little bit. He's had a half spin already, and Michael Ayres, oh Michael, that's not how you want to finish round 1. Out of the race, joins Valent and Novak and Krop in retirement from the second race of the night. So just about halfway through race 2, Vagapov still 2.5 seconds ahead of Bickers, but now starting to leak a little bit of time. Fastest final sector of the race for Bickers. Here's the THR battle. Butcher's going to go defensive to the inside, Maguire to the outside, as Brewer does the fastest lap of the race. And Maguire's not going to risk that around the outside. Look behind though, side by side. Stevens makes his move on Langerak, and that's going to allow Pfeiffer a go as well. Pfeiffer's going to try and get the inside run down into Villeneuve. And now Guillaume Branton's all over the inside of him. Branton's going to make an inside move on Pfeiffer. That's going to get tight. Pfeiffer carries the speed, gets a little bit out of shape. Can he make a corner? Yes, he can. Fantastic defence from Mario Pfeiffer. Oh, look at that. A bit of contact as Branton goes to the outside of Tozer. Branton came from absolutely nowhere. How did he carry that speed through? Yeah, well, that could have been very nasty. Pfeiffer, though, stays P9. Branton stays P10. By the way, Guy Sonneveld from the back of the field. This is what he may have been able to do if he could have been in race 1. Sonneveld P12 and only some 3 seconds off the points here. So Guy Sonneveld with a fantastic race for Gallery 82. So far, as I say that, gets a big slide through Aqua Minerale. Quick cut the cameras so we can get back to it. As Riboli gets past Vletstra as well, so Riboli trying to make amends for the mess that was at the start with the tight battling. So Riboli back up to P14, Vletstra trying to hold firm in P15, then Leho trying to make up for his error as well, P16, or his contact rather. Haller's P17, Moynier P18, so Team Iris, had it looking promising early on, and now they're struggling to even get a top 15. Back at the front, Bickers down to 1.3 behind Vagapov. It was 0.7 of a second on the last lap, 0.8 of a second on the last lap, as Hillroyd does the fastest lap, 136.8 miles faster than anybody on the circuit. Butcher following him as well. But really, it's the fight up top has absolutely edged down to 1.3 seconds. Bickers will be on Vagapov before you know it. Pfeiffer though, still trying to make a way through on Langerak. Remember, Langerak started P2, has been falling through the order as we go on. Trying to hang on to some points though for Epic Racing. And Jürgen Langerak managing to keep Marion Pfeiffer behind at the moment. So good job there for Langerak in the number 44. Meanwhile, Bickers half a second up through the middle sector. He's going to be all over Vagapov in no time at all. Stevens with a bit of a slide for Aqua Minerale as he pushes to try and get to the back of the two THRs. But Bickers within a second now. Bickers within a second now as they go down into Ravata. And a bit of a slide as well from Vagapov. How hard has he pushed that car? Through the first 9 laps. End of lap 9 coming up. Slipstream for Lewis Bickers. Is he in fighting position at the moment? I don't think he quite is, but he will be at the end of the lap for sure in that stacks. Vagapov then, his lead has come down considerably. It was 3.5 seconds at one point. Now it's just 0.3 and Bickers is going to have a look. No, he's not. He thinks better of it into Tamburello. Brewer flying as well, faster than both of them. 137.0, 4 tenths faster in P3, trying to close down as Pfeiffer comes again at Langerak. This time he's got the inside line. This time he can't get the gap though. Langerak late enough on the brakes to cover that one off. Whereas Branton, in relation to Pfeiffer, not close enough to make amends with that either. So Langerak still keeping his position, but Pfeiffer, you can see, just trying to carry the speed through and get a move into the hairpin, but just can't do it. Langerak's fast in all the right parts at the moment. Vagapov 0.4 ahead of Bickers now, so no attack for the moment. Brewer 2 tenths faster through sector 1, so Brewer's going to try and join that battle in the final 5 laps. Hilhoid hasn't been able to replicate his speed from a few laps ago. He's in P4, Butcher P5 for THR, his teammate Luke Maguire P6. Stevens only managing to get to P7 so far, but the fastest first sector of the race from the race 1 winner in P7. Langerak, as we're on board with Pfeiffer and Branton all over his rear end, hoping to hold on to P8 by the end of the race. Still plenty of time left, and then Liam Howard and Guy Sonneveld trying to catch up to this battle to maybe get some points for finishing in the top 10. Here we go. Actually, look, Pfeiffer was slow over Ravata, he had a problem, and that's going to give Guillaume Branton such a good run down the straight, as Bickers is right up there with Vagapov, and also Stevens has got through on Maguire. Stevens with the fastest lap of the race has got through on Maguire. Can Branton make a move on Pfeiffer? Lunges down the inside. A little bit of contact and Branson goes round. Just about keeps it in a straight line but loses the positions, and that allows Liam Howard for Beyond into P10. So his teammates out of the race, but Liam Howard in P10 on for a point at the moment. Could sort of see that contact coming as well. It was a bit of a day late and a dollar short from Guillaume Branson, trying to lunge it up the inside into the braking zone for Tamburello, and just a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact sent him into the gravel. Still P12, still time to come back from that. 4 laps to go as Bickers just stalks Vagapov, Peter Vagapov in the lead. Can he get some sort of a move materialised in that stacks? He looks so much faster, can't get anything done. Another half a second slower on the last lap than Daniel Brewer behind. Brewer 3 seconds behind though shouldn't be a factor in this one unless these two really impede each other. Actually, Vagapov looked better through Ravazza that time. Nice bit of drive. Is that enough to defend from the slipstream? Look how tightly he's hugging that inside line, trying to cut this straight as short as he possibly can. Lewis Bickers in the slipstream. He's closing, but he's not going to be close enough into turn 1. Another lap behind the yellow and black Valley Esports car. It is for the stacks of Lewis Bickers and his teammate closing in as we go. Meanwhile, this could be the move then. Pfeiffer down the inside. This time it could be against Langerak. This time they touch and they've both gone round. Langerak will continue. Howard will get past both of them. They'll both continue, but that's allowed Howard into P8. Langerak still ahead, but Sonneveld into P9 from the back of the grid. Fantastic drive from Sonneveld. Branson then through on Pfeiffer as well because of that, but Langerak still P10 for the moment. So not what you want to see at Tamburello. And look at the Sheldon Muscat as well in the GT Omega. He's come from nowhere. He's P13 and all of a sudden hunting for points as well on lap 12 of 14 in race 2 of round 1 of the F3 European Championship here at GPU. Howard has got Sonneveld all over the back of him now though for P8, and who would have thought these two would be going for P8 from their grid positions at the start of the race. Fantastic recovery from Sonneveld, who missed race 1 as we said. Back up front, Vagapov still got a healthy enough lead I think over Bickers to stop an attack coming. Brewer still miles faster than them. 2.6 seconds now the gap between Brewer and Bickers. Hillhood is not going to play a part because he's got Chris Butcher all over him down the front straight, and Butcher will surely make this move stick into turn 1. He's got the shortest route through turn 1 and then into Tamburello on the brakes. Can Sonneveld hold it? No, this time Butcher's going to do it, is he? Bit of wheel-to-wheel contact and push slightly wide, but Butcher's got it done, and Sonneveld wide, and now Stevens is going to have a go at Butcher. Look at this, Stevens has got a great run from the battle. Stevens couldn't get it done, but both THRs and Stevens through on Hillhood then. So Stevens trying to get past Butcher, Maguire ahead of Hillhood as well. So Baton's P7 for the Mazumda Motorsport. Very similar to what happened in race 1. Sonneveld now with Langerak all over the back of him. Langerak trying to recover from that contact he had with Pfeiffer. That one will be talked about later on, no doubt, especially with Pfeiffer down in P12 and Langerak still in the points, but that's given Branson a bit of respite from his mistake. Lap 13 of 14, 1 and a little bit laps to go, and Bickers can't get that move done up in front on Vagapov. He cannot get that done, but we saw a close finish for 4th and 5th in race 1. Will we have something similar in race 2? Still too far behind. He'll get the slipstream, he'll close in, he won't get a move done into Tamburello on the final lap. Not a chance. Vagapov starts the final lap then of round 1 of the GPU F3 European Championship, and he's got a healthy buffer at the moment. Bickers can't do anything about it. Valley P1, Stacks P2, Stacks P3, and look at Hillhoyd coming back at the THR. Can't get it done though. These four have been at it all race long. Butcher P4 at the moment for THR. Stevens P5, race 1 winner for Nocturne. Maguire, THR, P6, Hielhoyd, P7, Mazunda. And then you've got Liam Howard hanging on for P8. Here we go then, this gaggle of 4 cars. Into Tozer, no moves to be done there. This is all going to be a drag to the line and whether someone can make that stick. Butcher's the most vulnerable there. Same with Vagapov up front. Will Vagapov be able to hold on to his race lead? Vagapov about half a second ahead of Bickers, who's just gone 3/10 faster. He's all over the back of Vagapov through the middle sector is Bickers. It's all about the run out of Ravazza. If Bickers can get a clean run and Vagapov makes any mistake, this could go all the way down to the line. Look at the slipstream down the hill into Ravazza. Oh, and Vagapov's had a slide. Vagapov's had a slide. This is going to be oh so close over the line if they can get it done. A bit of understeer for Bickers. Slipstream. The start-finish line is all the way at the end of the grid. It's not here. It's over the line. I think Vagapov's got enough. Vagapov should hold on. Bickers is going to duck out. So close to the line. 0.035. Vagapov takes the lead. Takes a win. It's Vagapov P1 from pole in race 2. And look at this as well. THR. Stevens loses out. THR 4. Butcher. THR 5. Maguire. Tom Stevens 6. Hielhoyd 7. They're still racing across the line as well for P8. Howard 9. Sonneveld Howard 8. Sonneveld 9. Langerak holds on for P10 after his contact. And still racing going on down the grid. That was Vlitstra and Meunier. And that was absolutely a fantastic finish to that race. Bickers gave it everything and Vagapov realised right at the end that he had to cover that off. So a win in race 2 for Valley Esports, courtesy of Peter Vagapov, who led from start to finish. Here comes Itamar Yativ, didn't finish race 1, finishes race 2. And Renko Extra for Scuderia Freccianero. Nikos Anastastopoulos will be the final finisher, P23 for Team Year 1. And he will conclude round 1 of the GPU F3 European Championship season. There you go. What a race. What a race. Only the 4 non-finishers in Michael Ayers, Alessandro Valente, Martin Novak and Moritz Kropp, of course, second in race 1. But wow, it was so close between Vagapov and Bickers across the line. You could see it coming as soon as Vagapov made the slide into Ravazza, and Bickers tried everything, but just didn't have quite enough meters to the line to get the move done. Vagapov held on. Dan Brewer makes it a stacks 2-3. Chris Butcher and Maguire just pipping Tom Stevens across the line, and Hielhoyd wasn't that far away. So there you go, there's the results in full. It's Vagapov P1 lights the flag with Bickers second for stacks, almost getting the move done. Daniel Brewer P3 in the second stacks ahead of Chris Butcher and Luke Maguire. Tom Stevens finishes P6 for Nocturne, race 1 winner of course. Sven Hielhoyd P7 for Mazunda after another fantastic battle with the THRs. Liam Howard, fantastic drive up to P8, missing all of the drama. As for Guy Sonneveld from the very back of the grid, P9 and 2 points for the Gallery 82 Motorsport driver. And Jürgen Langerak ends up P10 after all sorts of drama. P11 Guillaume Branton for Mode Auto Concepts, and P12 for Marion Pfeiffer, who had the contact with Langerak and didn't end in the top 10. Sheldon Muscat, a fine drive up into P13 for GT Omega RPM. Massimilio Riboli had issues in that race, was as high as P4, finishes P14. Vletstra for Scuderia Freccianera finishes P15, a really strong drive from the back from race 1 for him. Like Meunier was one of both Team Iris cars to hit trouble, with Alex Hallows splitting the two. Liho P18, Rigotta P19 for Gallery 82, and Sotiris Contagouris P20. And just to finish off, we saw them coming across the line. Itamar Yativ for GT Omega P21, Renk Hoekstra P22 in the second for Echanira car, and Nikos Anastasopoulos came home 23rd and last for Team Year 1. Michael Ayers, Alessandro Valente, Martin Novak and Moritz Kropp did not finish. So, we will bring in a few of the drivers from tonight to have an interview, and we'll start with the race 1 winner, Tom Stevens, obviously pole man as well. Tom, how you doing? Congratulations for race 1, and you looked awful close at the end as well in race 2.
Hello, yeah, that was a really good weekend, and I've got to thank everyone at THR for doing a fantastic job. Thank you to Toby and Moritz, Chris and Luke, because everything just went into the right direction, and yeah, happy to be a part of this team.
So you took the first pole of the season. You were, I think, level with Luke through practice, and then you took pole by about 1.5 tenths, and then never really looked in doubt through the race. How easy was that for you? Or I say easy, but how laid back could you be through race 1?
In race 1, we were instructed to just keep it calm because we had control of the front. So it was just making sure I made no mistakes and just bringing it to the end. But race 2 is definitely a lot more hectic.
Yeah, I just saw at the end the four of you coming across the line together. I think you got pipped at the line as well by Luke. How difficult is it in that situation when everything's on the line there through the final few corners? You know you've got to get the run on the car in front, but where are you looking down that straight? How do you know where to position the car, I guess?
Sven Hilhert, he was coming up from behind, and I think our main goal was just to keep him behind us. So it doesn't really matter which order we finished in the end, but yeah.
Just some team tactics. Well, Tom, congratulations on the first win of the season and the pole, and obviously the points picked up in race 2.
Thank you.
Right, we will bring in race 2 winner. Race 2 winner was Peter Vagapov. Peter, congratulations on that race victory. You led it from the start, and it all looked completely under control. And then all of a sudden, you came across the line absolutely side by side.
First of all, thank you for congratulating me. This first race. Can I talk about the first race?
Absolutely.
Thank you. The first race, it was a mess. As for me, I think from the start of the qualifying, there was so much traffic and I didn't do time, and my teammate as well, my manager, Massimiliano Bolli. And I started like P9, and then I got an issue with the computer. I got a screen freeze, and unfortunately, from lap 1, I was P15 and I was going through, but when I got the screen freeze, I had damage, so unfortunately I couldn't, go further to the top 10, and I decided to stay at P12. Actually not. I was struggling, and I moved from P10 to P12, and I got pole for the race 2, and from the start I was leading quite well. Everything was good, but then I got screen freeze again, and I lost like 1.5 tenths, and Chris was behind me, and it was like mind games more for me. Really good racing from him because I was expecting dive bombs, but actually not. Chris Butcher is a very clean guy, so respect to him. And for the finish, I locked up the rears. I caught the car, luckily, and I thought before the last lap that it will happen, that I will do something wrong at the last lap because there was so much pressure, and I wanted to win for the Valley team, for Massimiliano, and in the home team ground. So because Valley is the Italian team, so I'm very happy to take away in race 2. But there is some things that we should improve: race pace, qualifying, to be strong in race one.
So the issues you had in race one, obviously, you still managed to come back, get into the reverse grid pot, and then to drive the way you did in race two, that's got to be promising for the rest of the season as well.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of fast drivers like Tom Stevens, Luke McGuire, Chris Butcher, and to give a challenge to them is really a nice feeling. And as we said before the testing and during the testing, we want to be in top 5. And I think if we do the same thing what we did in race 2, I think it could be a good chance to be in top 5, top 3, I think. But anyways, I think we should be prepared more than like today, because there were so much fast guys in front of us, and there is some areas that we need an improvement. And I really hope that we can give a battle in Red Bull Ring.
Peter, thank you very much for joining us, and congratulations on your race 2 victory. Go well for the rest of the season.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Have a good day.
Yeah, thanks, Peter. We'll just bring in one more. We've got time for one more. We'll bring in Moritz Kropp, of course, second in race 1. And but an issue in race 2. Moritz, congratulations for race 1. Great second position. Let's talk about that first. How critical was, I guess, the team play to bring that home? You looked so much faster than everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, I was pushing quite a bit in the first stint. We divided the race into 2 stints, like the first half and the second half, and was pushing quite a bit in the first half, and I sort of lost it all in the second part. But yeah, I mean, the team play is just, like the strongest thing we can have and we can play with. Yeah, I mean, thank you to the team for allowing me this. Thanks to Tom Ely as well. And yeah, like I said, we just divided the race into 2 parts, and I was pushing quite a bit too much. And yeah.
So, race 1 was the good. I guess race 2 was the bad. What happened there with the DNF?
Yeah, I got caught up at the start a little bit, and then obviously, I tried to hold position for a little bit longer, and in the middle sector, I just went down the curb on top of the hill, and it just drags you straight out of the track and onto the gravel trap, so there was nothing I could have done, and lost loads of positions there, and from there on, I just tried to recover and not lose too many places, but I have to say it was quite a mess back there.
So, in general, low pace looked good, obviously in qualifying, in the race as well, so looking forward to 2 weeks' time?
Yeah, very much. I enjoyed driving this car here, actually. In the beginning, the car is a bit difficult in the beginning, but once you get used to it, it actually starts to be good. That could also be down to the setup, which was on point today.
Oh, brilliant. Well, thanks for joining us, Moritz. Congratulations on race 1, commiserations on race 2, but overall a good day for the team. Thanks, Moritz.
Thank you very much.
And that brings an end to our broadcast. This GPU, Grand Prix United, has come back with a bang, I'm sure you'll agree, in Imola. Both races absolutely edgy seat stuff. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time, so make sure you come back to watch some fantastic F3 European Championship action. I've been Ewan Gale. Gerrit de Vries has been on cameras for us, and until 2 weeks' time, it's goodbye for now.